What's up, everybody? Master Reactor here, and we have another video. I throw scissors and he throws paper, so I get to go first, which is clutch. This is number 2 of 5. So I opened triple jar of greed, snatch tail, mirror force, and deco, which is pretty funny. He's got Spirit Reaper, Sinister, Duo, Saku, and Solemn. I decide to set 3 jar of greeds, a deco, and a mirror force, and just say go. Should have set the snatch steal too. He draws into Thunder Dragon. He discards the Thunder Dragon. He decides to set the Reaper, set Saku, and set Solemn, and say, oh no, and then he duos me. Then he says go. So he gets my snatch steal, which is fine. I draw into Solemn. I decide to flip the deco and draw into a breaker. Decide to jar greed. He says okay. Into Wing Blast. I decide to run the breaker out now. And break. I hit the Solemn. He doesn't set it. And I just go right into battle phase. And I see the Reaper. Main phase 2. I decide to jar greed. I draw into Pot of Greed. So a lot of greed here. I jar greed again into Sanguine. And then I Pot of Greed into Chaos Sork and Spy. And he draws in a Jar of Greed. So he's got double Thunder Dragon, Sinister, and Jar of Greed. He sets Jar of Greed and Sinister and says go. I draw into another Chaos Sork, which sucks. I set my Spy and say go. He draws into Graceful Charity, which is a clutch ass draw for him. And I say okay. He draws Solemn, Torrential, and Chaos Sork. He discards double Thunder Dragon. He sets Torrential and sets Solemn and says go. I draw into Thunder Dragon. Decide to flip the Spy and get the Spy. I decide to discard Thunder Dragon. And I tribute for a Thunder Dragon. Tribute the Spy for a Thunder Dragon, and I decide just to go for it and say fuck it. I bring out the Chaos Sork, and he torrentials me here, I think. Yeah, he torrentials me. I say, alright, that's fine, you got me. All this shit was all advantage anyways, it don't matter. I'm still up after him getting a 5 for 1 there. Not really, because he used 3 of his monsters. So he used 3 and got rid of 5. I drop a Chaos Sork on him, and decide to poke him for 23. And he takes it, and I just say go. He draws into a deco for turn. He gets a Sinister back. He drops his Chaos Sork, and I decide to Solemn it. And then he Solemns my Solemn, so Chaos Sork is gone. And he says deco and says go. I draw into a Wing Blast. I got a Mirror Force and a Wing Blast set. I decide to Wing Blast and put the monster back on top. And set a Wing Blast, set Sanguine, and say go. He jar greeds. Probably should have chained that to the, to the Wing Blast. He jar greeds into Tribe, and he decides just to attack, and I'm like, alright. I grab my Sinister with Sanguine. He sets the monster and says go. I draw into a Solemn Judgment. He's sitting at 2350. Standby phase, I decide to Wing Blast and put the face down monster back on top. Get my Sinister back here and set Solemn and set Sinister and say go. He decides to set it and just say go. I draw on a knock. I knock it. Fuck it. Banish the deco. He draws to a Jar of Greed. He switches it. Switches his Chaos Sork. Runs out Tribe. Attacks. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Not Mirror Forcing. I draw into a Magician of Faith, which is pretty clutch because now he's going to think it's a Sinister. And he falls right into it. He draws into BLS. Don't think he has any targets for that. Maybe he does. No, he doesn't have a dark right now. So he drops down the Sinister, and he assumes it's a Sinister, so he tries to poke, but it is Magician of Faith. So I instantly go and get Snatch Steal, and he loses 100, putting him at 2250. And he tries to attack my Faith, and now I decide to Mirror Force, because I decide I'm going to Snatch Steal him next turn and just win this shit. So hopefully, I draw on the BLS. I snatch steal him, switch into attack. He tries the Saku, and I got the Solemn Judgment. So that is the game one. Hell yeah, that shit was clutch. Played that shit pretty damn good. I did draw pretty well, but the way I played it, sitting on the Mirror Force that long, it's pretty good. That Faith was clutch though. So game two, he's got level 2, Dust Tornado, Ring, Deco, Chaos Sork, and Spirit Reaper. I've got Upstart, Chaos Sork, Thunder Dragon, Jar, Solemn, and Mind Control. Now this is where I misplay. I should have probably not turn 1. I don't know, like it's like iffy turn 1 Mind Control, because most of the time they set like bluffs turn 1. So it's like, it's probably not the smartest move to turn 1 Mind Control. But I never learned my lesson, so I upstart instantly and draw into a spy, and I decide just to fire the Mind Control and just say, fuck it, let's see what it is. And of course, to nobody's surprise, it is a Spirit Reaper, so completely wasted that. I set Jar, set Solemn, and say go. I give him back his Reaper. He in-phase Dust Tornado and hits the Jar Agreed. He draws into a Faith. He tries to run the level 2 out, but I decide to Solemn it because I want to keep my spy around here. And he switches it and sets Ring and says go. I draw into a Deco, and I decide just to set the Deco and say go. I don't flip up spy or anything or do anything right now. I just don't feel like it's the right move. He draws into Sangin. He sets a Deco and says go. I flip my spy up and go get the spy now. Decide to do it this turn. And flip the Deco. And I draw into a Sinister, which is pretty dead here. And now I just say fuck it and run into the monster. It's a Deco. He draws into Thunder Dragon, which is clutch. I set Faith and say go. He draws into Sinister, which is okay. He discards the Thunder Dragon and decides to set Sangin and say go. I flip up the Faith, and my dumbass gets Mind Control. And of course I Mind Control, and it's a Sangin, so that's 2 Mind Controls I've wasted, which is fucking not ideal. And I can't do anything, and I just have to pass. He gets a Sangin back, he draws into a Deco here. This game's not going that great for me. He literally could have just won by just dropping Chaos Sork and run over the damn Faith and then ringing. I don't know why he didn't do this. This is crazy. He's at 9,000. All you had to do was just attack over the Faith and then ring me, and that's game. That's 2,000. Is that 4,300 damage? Instead, he gives me a turn and pokes over 700. This is crazy as shit. Why he wouldn't do that? People are funny. So I draw into a Deco. I have literally nothing. I set the Deco and just say go. Maybe I could have ran the Chaos Sork out there, but I don't think it would have mattered because he drew in a DD Warrior Lady. He flips the Deco, gets a knock, he knocks my shit, and I've had enough, I think. I think it's game. I just scoop. It didn't matter. He had the game anyways. So we're on to game 3. I get to go first this game. He could have beat me that turn. He gave me a turn, but I couldn't do nothing with it. Game 3, I open Snatch, Kaiku, Solemn, Mind Control, Trap Dust Shoot, and Knock. I decide to set Trap Dust Shoot, set Solemn, and run out the Kaiku. He's got Solemn, Duo, Knock, Exile, Deco, and Solemn. So this is pretty clutch for me. So I get rid of the Exile Force. He tries to Duo me. I instantly Solemn it because I'm like, fuck it. I know what you have. He sets double Solemn in a Deco and says go. I draw into a Faith, which is a pretty bad draw because I know he has Knock. So I'm pretty much saying, let's burn out these Solemns here. So I Mind Control, he Solemns it. Instantly putting him at 35. I knock it, he Solemns it. Boom. Any monster I could have just won right now, but I didn't have it. So I poke into it, he draws Pot of Greed, which is clutch. Then he draws into Faith, which is even clutcher. He Pot of Greeds into Thunder Dragon and Chaos Sork. This is where he misplays like crazy. He discards the Thunder Dragon. And he tries to drop Chaos Sork on me, but as you can tell, I have Kaiku out. So get that shit out of here. Put that shit back in your hand. That shit ain't coming out. Not with no damn whatchamacallit out. It ain't happening. And he sets his Faith and sets a knock and says go. And I run into it, and he gets pot of greed again. So this is his third pot of greed he's using on me. He pot of greeds me into Faith and DD Warrior Lady. Decides to set the DD Warrior Lady and say go. Now I have Graceful Charity. I Graceful Charity into Sinister, Solemn, and Knock. So now I'm going for the game here, folks. I instantly Wing Blast and put the trap back, knock, and swing for game. After pot of greeting 3 times, Kaiku was holding up, doing work on him. Let's fucking go. Hit the like, hit the sub. Y'all have a good day or night. This is number 2 of 5. I got 3 more to do today for no reason. Only 23. GG. Peace out. Bye.